What's up, everybody, and welcome to The Grind. I'm Brad Pleasant, and today's message is the fourth commandment. It says, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. You know, this commandment is a very important commandment. And while it may not seem like it's on the level of thou shalt not murder or do not put any other God before me, I'm telling you, it's one of the most important. In fact, it's number 4 on the top 10 list. So what does it mean to keep the Sabbath? The Sabbath in the Old Testament is a day of rest. It's when God created the heavens and the earth, and he was busy, active, creating the world. It says that he did it in 6 days. On the 7th, he rested. And so he took that time to do some very important things, which we'll get to in a minute. However, in the New Testament, we don't have to honor or keep that day as it was in the Old Testament. You see, Jesus Christ is our rest. We don't have to do the works to merit us salvation and to merit us right standing with God. That comes through faith and believing in what Jesus Christ did. So what does it mean to keep the Sabbath? Well, there's a principle inside of this commandment that's very key for us, and that's what I want to give you today. You see, in Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 3, and I'm going to read them, it gives us a little bit of insight. It says, thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the 7th day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the 7th day, he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the 7th day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. God expects us to include rest in what we do. You see, in God's resting, there's also time for reflection, time for recuperation, time for being revived, time for being restored, time for being refueled or re-energized to go about the next leg or the next step in your work or in your business or in your activity. A life devoid of rest is no life at all. In fact, you'll soon find yourself burnt out, fizzled out, and no longer able to continue to achieve or succeed in the way that you once did before. It also gives you the opportunity to reflect. So many times we forget or we neglect the power of reflection, to look back on what we have done, to look back on, in God's case, his creation, and to see what he had done and to see what he accomplished. For us, it's important to look back on those things and actually take joy in what we did, to be proud, to have that moment where we can reflect and look back on everything that we've accomplished up until that point. And then to say that it was good, or to say this thing I need to work on, or that area I need to work on. But we also need to be refreshed. You know, just to be busy, and to not allow your body to be able to refresh itself or to recoup is absolutely ridiculous. Naturally, it's built inside of us to have an opportunity to rest every night, just like a computer. You know, you don't just power down your computer to save on battery or save on electricity. No, when you shut down a computer, it's actually doing necessary things internally so that it can perform at the highest possible way to be the most productive and efficient for what you're going to demand out of it. Likewise, for you to get the best results in life, you have to actually have a point in time where you shut it down, where you come to that place of rest. The last thing I want to leave you with in this principle is that it also says not to only remember the Sabbath, but to keep it holy. Holy is not a special, mystical, super spiritual word. Holy means set apart. That is something that is sacred. It's something that is reserved, and it's reserved for God himself. So what is it that we're supposed to keep holy in this time of rest? This is something that belongs to God. Your life belongs to him. And so you have to give a portion of your life to God. Not just to pour yourself out over your work, over your dreams, your goals, your desires, and give everything you have to that, but actually to reserve some of yourself and keep it holy, keep it set apart for God. Practically speaking, what this looks like or what this means is this. You know, whatever you don't set apart or keep reserved or preserved for God you lose it. Whatever you steal, whatever you take away that God says belongs to Him, because whatever is holy is set apart for God. So whatever you steal and take for yourself, you ultimately lose it. In the book of Genesis, God said that the tree in the middle of the garden, the tree of life, was holy. It was set apart. It was only for God. It was His. He gave them every tree in the garden. He gave them every tree that they could possibly have. But that tree, of the knowledge of good and evil was only for Him. It was reserved for God. But Adam and Eve took from that tree. And because they took of it, they lost life. You see, when you steal, when you take that which is set apart from God, you ultimately lose. God says to give Him a portion of our income, a portion of what we earn, a portion of what we bleed for and sweat for and give up our lives for, to set apart for Him. But when you take that and you keep it for yourself, you ultimately lose out. Your funds actually begin to go down because you hold on to what belongs to God. Likewise, with our time, with our energy, with our strength, if we don't take time to rest, we actually lose out on time. We get more done when we set apart that time for God and we keep it holy than when we keep it all for ourselves. Well, I want to thank you for listening today. I'm Brad Pleasant. Commandment number 4, remember the Sabbath, keep it holy today. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.
Subscribe today at SimonArias.net.